Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of the UK Connection. This is the show you've waited all week to see. It's the only show that can be enjoyed absolutely on a Saturday because this makes for great weekend viewing, right? Because, of course, two-thirds of the UK Connection is Simon Bray and Steven Reid. They make up the UK Connection here. I'm just the American who comes in and hangs out with the two of them. So, what's happening, gentlemen?
Yes, all good here. All good here.
Good, good. Ready to talk
Well,
foreigner today?
woohoo!
Yes, indeed. I will say this is probably the one episode that we've done in recent memory where I had to do zero homework for because I know this catalog so well. I knew as soon as Steven announced we were going to do this to the three of us, I was like, okay, I know the two, and the one in the middle. Very easy. Very easy. It'll be fun to talk about them once again. So, but before we do that, the magical bottle opener has to be passed around so we can talk about our beverages of the week. Simon, what do you got?
What a really good question that is. I believe I've got a Bullhouse Brew dark roasty beer.
Ooh.
Fucking roasty.
I put so much effort into this. Once again, I just reached over there and got it. I think it's a gift from someone. Thank you, someone. I believe it's German. I believe mentions Munich somewhere, but the writing's so tiny. How are you supposed to read that when you're nearly 57? That's just I know.
Even with
It's
the
like
glasses, right?
it's like a cassette from the 1980s. I can't read that shit anymore. Um, really, really can't. And also because I felt like it. I thought it's about time I brought the Goblet of Truth back.
Been a while.
Been a while, and soon as we never do power metal, which really requires the Goblet of Truth. I just thought, hey, goblets, come and join me. It is dark. It is roasty. It's quite nice. It's very nice. Maybe not right at the top of. If it was a power metal band, it'd probably be Gamma Ray. Yeah, yeah. Nice and solid. I like it.
So I'm going to throw out a question here for the two of you gentlemen, since Simon brought up this whole topic of power metal. We do this AOR melodic rock series, and we do this ranking the songs on a classic album series. We do this whole favorite and least favorite series. Could we ever do like some kind of weird little power metal series? We certainly talk about power metal stuff enough. It comes up in conversations. I know all three of us like various different power metal bands. We don't do a ton of power metal stuff on the channel. Could we make that
Sounds
a
good to
regular
me.
thing something to think about, right?
I like that
Good, but
idea.
just to be peevish, we're not doing Halloween.
That is as
That was
mean as
supposed to happen like 2 years ago now.
yes. And the same kind viewer will ask respectfully in the comments every time, please can you do Halloween?
Yes.
Simon still says no. It is on the list. I mean the list is like but it is on the list. It will be forced on. We will do it, Simon.
I mean, hell, I've been asked for ranking the albums of King Diamond for like 3 years by like the same five people, and that's happening tomorrow, everybody. So just so you know, it's taking a while. Sometimes these things.
In the same week as his birthday. Excellent.
Ooh.
Is it really?
So I read the other day. Yeah,
Ah, what a coincidence. I didn't plan it that way.
there you go.
So
Good
for everybody
claim.
watching, if you want to see a power metal themed show happen periodically on the UK Connection, let us know. We will figure it out. Because let me tell you something, there's a lot of power metal albums to talk about.
Yes, absolutely there is.
Yeah. All right. What did you rate that fine beverage you had there, Simon?
I gave it a gamma ray. That's what gave it
Oh, okay.
the situation. So basically, I do this shit so I can set you up to come up with some form of power metal band that's your beer can be.
We'll play along. There you go. Okay.
Mine's mid-ranking power metal band. It's gamma ray. So
Okay, cool.
Okay. Well, talking about laziness, I'm back in the same brewery I was 2 weeks ago. So I'm not in Scotland again. But I was given gifts. So I'm going to drink gifts because I like gifts. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Jill. Actually gave me the gifts from the Helmsley Brewing Company, which is in Helmsley, North Yorkshire. I've got Howardian Gold. Okay. 4.2%. It looks like this in the glass. Okay, which is nice. That's very nice, actually. Surprisingly smooth, surprisingly creamy, in actual fact. I would say that that is, it doesn't blow you away, but it's kind of at the top end of that kind of golden ale that's doing that kind of thing. So it's right at the top. It's about a 4. So I would say this to me it's the Firewind of golden ale. It's reliable, but you know you're going to like every single thing that they do. Do you know? But at the same time, you already know what they're going to do. You know what this is going to do, but it's very good at it. Yes, this is a Firewind.
Firewind sounds like a good drinking beer. We've got a Firewind and a Gamma Ray today. That's not too shabby, folks.
I could have many of these.
So I have a gift as well, because my brother came a week and a half ago and brought lots of beers from New Jersey. And this one here is a Nectaron Pils from the brewery called The Source, somewhere down in New Jersey. I'll tell you exactly where in a second. Colts Neck, New Jersey. This is a dry hopped Pilsner lager, 5% alcohol. That kind of cool can, right? The Source.
The can immediately made me think of Thundercats.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Just put Thundercats.
I can see that.
Oh,
Canned fresh from The Source, and it looks like this. My awesome Zeus Brewing Company. Very citrusy smelling for a Pilsner or lager type of thing. That's really good. That's really crisp and crunchy, and it's got a little zing to it. It's definitely got a hint of citrus, the citrus hop, but not like an IPA at all. That's really good. That's really good. It's got a little bite to it. This is a Primal Fear right here.
Oh.
Yeah. Good stuff. My brother comes through once again. I have a whole fridge full of New Jersey beers down there, so I've got fuel for the next couple episodes unless I drink them all between now and then, which is very likely. So we may not. So, least favorite, Foreigner, the great British/American band. It's funny how I remember growing up, I always thought, because I never paid too much attention to it, I always thought the Foreigner were an American band because of Lou Gramm, but most of the other guys initially were not from here. So this truly was an international band at the time, somewhat of a super group, right? So yeah, I don't know who either one of you guys want to dip a little bit into their history at all before we get started.
Wow, pressure. What struck me doing this is Foreigner have been on the go with a little break, a little break, and for 47 years, somewhere 47 years since the debut, anyway. 9 albums, 9 albums.
Not a lot.
That's a remarkably low output. Or 9 bespoke studio albums. There are bonus tracks all over the place. There are more live albums. Well, not so much live albums, more compilations than there are studio albums. But some of those have got re-recorded versions of. Anyway, it's a complicated discography that has a very small amount of actual songs in it. Strangely enough, one of the biggest AOR bands of all time. Possibly best known outside of that sphere for the fact that they want to know what love is, and everybody else also seemed to want to know what love is. It kind of made them ginormous, it arguably broke them. You've got Mick Jones, who had a fascinating career prior to Foreigner, mainly in France, strangely enough. A kind of backing guy, did lots of kind of pop sort of things, wrote lots of songs for people. His career pre-Foreigner is absolutely fascinating. He kind of rubbed shoulders with the Beatles, which also shows through some of Foreigner's material. Fascinating. Then you had Black Sheep with Lou Gramm and various other guys that all come together as Foreigner. Huge hits all the way through, multi-million selling albums until it starts to fall to bits. And then we end up with a different singer. We end up with nobody really paying attention to that album. Then it all comes back together. Then it all breaks up. There's lots of solo albums along the way. It's a proper soap opera, this band, has to be said. But also lots and lots and lots of good music. Maybe not so many albums across nearly 50 years equals not many bad albums. Strangely enough, who would have thought it? But yeah, not really a history of Foreigner, but I think everyone knows who Foreigner are.
Yeah. And and to kind of put the cap on their career, they're out on their final tour right now, and there ain't no original members in the band at this point in time. Mr. Jones isn't even taking part in it. So it's basically the rest of the band who have been together for the last number of years, touring as Foreigner, playing all the hits, and whatever. Some people are for it, some people are not. I mean, I've seen this current incarnation of Foreigner a few times. Once with Mick fully playing the full show, and a couple others where he comes out and plays a couple songs and then kind of disappears for the rest of the set. But yeah, they still sound great. They're still playing all the songs you want to hear, and but this is it. So
would I
yeah.
be correct in saying at this stage that is only actually one member left in the current lineup? Let's say Mick's not really in the band now. Who's actually recorded with them?
It's Kelly. Yeah,
it's only Kelly Hansen that's actually recorded anything with them that's still with the band, and most of that lineup have been there over a decade. So
I mean, it just goes to show you, because they've been so busy touring for the last decade plus, but yet they only put out that one album.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, as far as the recorded output in the last, God, almost 30 years, it's been very little, very little.
Yeah.
So as always on this show, we have our two favorites, our two least favorites, and then a wild card. Wild card can be basically anything from the catalog that doesn't quite make the top or the bottom. It could be something that's kind of related to the catalog, right? It could kind of, there's no real rules on the wild card, but it's got to be somewhat in the Foreigner family, so to speak. So, Simon, your top two favorites.
Yes, but somewhere along the line, I might cheat, but not initially. Yeah, but what I did say for myself was, I'm going to keep strictly within the Foreigner discography. Yeah, because we've done Lou Gramm, haven't we? Not literally, but we've we looked at I know we looked at his solo album the other week. I will absolutely shit my boys if we do not do Shadow King at some point. So I thought not much point chatting about that one, is there? So I've decided to keep it strictly within the core Foreigner albums, but there will be some cheating very shortly. But not on my first two. Absolutely, definitely not. No. Do you know what? My God, there was a time when certainly in the UK, people, ooh, Foreigner, ooh, they're so faceless, they're so corporate. What do they look like? They look like that. That's what they look like. Unless you're some kind of absolute fucking idiot, they're on the covers. You know what they look like. Stop it. It's just because you can't be bothered. That's what it is. And do you know what? This is my first choice. Foreigner. Eponymous debut album. Do you know what? It came to my attention that this is a great record. And you go back and look at contemporary, that's easy for me to say, reviews that came out at the time. And there were some really snarky ones, weren't there? And some of the revisionism's been quite snarky as well. This is a great record. It really, really is. You're thinking that at the time that it came out, that everyone's listening to the Clash and the Damned and stuff like that. But Foreigner were beavering away, making it's really just like arguably the template for classic rock. It probably wasn't called that at the time, was it? But feels like the first time. Oh my gosh, what a tune! Cold as Ice. Star Rider, the best Stick songs ever. You know it, mate. Head Knocker. Just side one is absolutely, completely perfect. It really is. Long Way from Home's great. Woman or Woman's great. But War with a this is a great record. Straight out the gate. Often bands come out with their best record is the debut. But this is both my favorite, and I actually do think they're their best. Oh, I don't know. Is the next one the best? Oh, I don't know. But this is a great record. Now, Foreigner only released 9 albums, but there are distinct phases of their career, aren't which I'm sure we'll come on to later. And my favorite phase of Foreigner's career is the early stuff. Yeah. So Foreigner.
5 million copies sold here in the States.
Not as many over here.
No. Made it to number 4 on the charts.
There you go.
Pretty good.
You can tell how long I have had double vision by how very, very grey it's become, grey, brown, sepia it's become, because it's one of those albums that can't, you take it out, you leave it out, the sun comes through, because you just played it that many times. Again, stupendously good record. Really, really hot-blooded. Blue Morning, Blue Day. Oh, just so much good stuff. Double vision. Tune. There's even an instrumental. Thank you, God. I just miss instrumentals unless they're called intro, which is just deeply irritating, isn't it? Again, just really, really great classic rock. Although why Mick Jones is wearing an Afghan hound on the back cover, not entirely sure. Why would he do that? You know, it's just not entirely sure. But really, really solid records. These are beyond solid. You know, and they touch on practically everything. You know, there's soul in there. There's a little bit of R&B. The keyboards are proggy AF. They really are. You know, just before the keyboard, there comes a point in Foreigner where the keyboards kind of take over everything. And Mr. Jones puts his guitars away for quite a long while. More of that later. But here, superb interplay between the keys, between the guitars, just everything is just really, really good. Great records. Yes. I rest my case, my love. They're my favorites, and I think they're the best.
You know, I like the fact you mentioned the keyboards, but they're so well utilized there. You know, of course, Mr. Underwood from King Crimson, right? It's like kind of a strange fit for this type of music, but man, he was right at home in this band, I think.
Yeah, Mr. McDonald.
Oh, McDonald. I'm sorry. Did I say Underwood? Whatever I said. You know who I meant.
You mean absolutely.
Ian McDonald, not Ian Underwood. I'm thinking,
so
that's on the brain.
Absolutely. There you go. Yeah. So, at the risk of following a theme here, okay, here we go. I do like this kind of, you know, hearing these guys that have just turned up out of nowhere sort of thing. You know, they're standing there all bizarrely dressed, as to be said. Lou sporting that fabulous middle pattern that he seemed to hold on to for way too long. But there you go. So, you know, and the train's heading out. These are foreigners that have just arrived by any chance? I don't know. It's one of those really bad but really great album covers. I really like it. And yet you look at it and you go, yeah, it's pretty terrible.
The closer you look at it, yeah, it's not very good.
Yeah.
From far away, it looks pretty good, but yeah.
Yeah. But there you go. Yeah. But the music on it, I mean, I'm just going to follow Simon. What a way to introduce a band. It's the debut album. Okay, it's 1977. And you open up with Feels Like the First Time, Go Into Cold as Ice, and then you hit you with Star Rider. I mean, how many debut albums open with 3 songs as good as that? Not very many, very few, hardly any, nearly none, basically. That's how good this is. And Star Rider, arguably, is my favourite song by this band. I absolutely love it. I really do. The arrangement is so just bang on. The vocals are outstanding. Yes, it's a little bit proggy. There's loads of keyboards, but they're tasteful. They're colourful. They're kind of moving. They're just fantastic. And you would think, well, yeah, this album peaks way too soon. And it goes into Head Knocker, which I really like, but those lyrics are, yeah. Were they good at the time? I wouldn't have thought so. Come on, you know, because they're not great. But The Damage Is Done has got a great groove to it. Long, Long Way From Home. That's kind of the forgotten single from this album.
That's a great song. Yeah.
Yeah, pulsates with real energy. It's fantastic. And then you've got At War with the World, which has got such a kind of a strut and it's got a sway. And then there's almost, as Simon mentioned, soul. Feel Free Anyway is really just a soul song. There's so many different influences that arrive in Formula at this time. They're really such a multi-dimensional act. And yes, as we have on this show many times, I will wax lyrical about just what a phenomenal, if not the greatest rock singer of this period, this kind of late 70s, moving into the 80s period in Lou Gramm. And Mick Jones is just fantastic. Some of these guitar solos have got real kind of meat about them. He really attacks things. He's not mucking about at this stage at all. Then you've got Ian MacDonald. He brings subtlety to it. And I think the moment that he was ousted, that subtlety left. That was a really key moment in as again, what Simon mentioned, the eras of this band. So, you know, there's still kind of Al Greenwood's keys and synths. Everything's so integral to what's going on. And over and above that, you've got a great rhythm section. Ed Gallardo on kind of bass, just keeping everything there. But Dennis Elliott, I listen out for these drum fills. These drum fills are exciting. They're interesting. They hold everything in place. The drum fills are hooks on these songs. And that is really, really clever. But this is such a great album. Really is. My favourite, is it their best? I don't know, because many people will tell you that their best is this. Okay, this is not even my second favourite. But it has to have a mention because it might well be their best. And I'm not going to argue that it's not their best, but it doesn't get a mention from me in the top two. And I really, really, really wanted to get this in here because I do think that side one on this album is absolutely fantastic. It's so, so good. I mean, Tooth and Nail, arguably that's my favourite Foreigner song. It's just so good. And Lou Gramm he is on fire at this stage. And I like I Want to Know What Love Is. Yeah, I don't really need to hear it ever again, all that kind of thing. But it is a great song. You kind of think back to the first time you heard it, if you can, feels like the first time. It's a great song. But side two, they basically forgot to write side two. So I have to move that to the side as well. And I do end up.
I'm side two. Hello.
That's it. Yeah. But we'll get to you later at some point, or maybe we won't. So yeah, I end up, funnily enough, in 1978 with Double Vision. Do you know? I mean, they only go and do it again. And same again, I'm just going to repeat myself. Those drum fills in Hot Blooded. I mean, I could listen to them all day. It's not fancy drumming. It's not, really quick fills and flurries and, oh, wow, what is he doing? But you listen to him, he's playing with the music. There are so many drummers that don't actually really do that little boom, boom, boom moment. Oh, love it, love it, love it, love it. It's just so good. Blue Morning, Blue Day. I mean, that is like a kind of late 70s American-fied Beatles track in that sense. There's lots of Beatles influence on this album. And really, I think at this point, Lou Gramm he's found what he wants to do with this band. And it's just out of this world. Mick Jones, he's a riff monger here, tasty lead lines, but it's the kind of bits that don't get celebrated so much. It's those layers of vocals that I really like. This feels at this stage really like a band. And I'm not convinced that even through some of their mega million selling, very successful and very good later eras, they sound as much like a band as they do at this point. And that's maybe why I kind of gravitate towards these albums. There is a different sound to that kind of first 2-3 albums before they move into something that's just a little bit slicker. But then you get things on this like You're All I Am. I mean, that's like Paul McCartney crooning to something that's been produced for Queen. It's just such a kind of strange little kind of maneuver between different ideas. And then, oddly enough, when you've got Lou Gramm in this band, Mick Jones sings a couple of songs in this album, but he does a really good job of them, to be fair. You wouldn't necessarily expect that. And does an excellent instrumental, which does almost sound like screaming out for a vocal, to be fair. There's moments in that song where you go, oh, nobody's singing. And it's not a waste. It's kind of a waste. But it's bloody good. So yeah, the debut and Double Vision are my favourite.
Well, my number one is the debut. Can it be any other? I mean, this is practically a greatest hits album on its own, right? That's how good it is from start to finish. I will argue forever that when you look at like some of the greatest debuts that came out in the 70s, and we're talking the first Boston album, the first Van Halen album, the first Cars album, this is right up there with them. It's a great album. And like you both of you mentioned, there's a little bit of everything on here. You got hard rock, you got pop, you got a little bit of soul. That War with the World is almost a metal song, for crying out loud. There's everything on here. Every song is a winner. Production's great. Yeah, classic for a reason. I mean, that was easy. Just almost as easy, not quite as good, but very close, is Double Vision. I mean, how many bands come out of the gate with a 1-2 punch like this? Not a lot, right? You could make an argument that you put these two albums together against the first two Boston albums. Is this a little stronger than Don't Look Back? Do the same thing with Van Halen too, right? Yeah, I think all three of these bands, even the Cars. I mentioned the Cars before. Candy on the debut. All these bands, these four bands, just hit home runs right out of the park. There's great stuff on here, man. Title track is so good. Hot Blooded is great. Blue Morning, Blue Day. I mean, we've already talked about the song. Just great stuff. And you mentioned Mr. Graham, who I think is, it was weird here in the States too. This band was so big, but they were kind of like nondescript as personalities also. I don't think that Lou didn't get the accolades quite as much as like a Steve Perry did. I think you look at some of those great vocalists from these American bands, Brad Delp from Boston, Steve Perry, Lou Graham, Steve Walsh, right? I think some of the other bands had more of a image. They were more image conscious, where I don't think the guys in Foreigner were not the guys you see in the street go, oh my God, there's Foreigner. And then 500 people flocked to them. They weren't like that here either. And I think it's as many records as they sold, and tickets they sold to their tours, they were never really that band for whatever reason. And I think that Lou, one of the unsung greats of this late 70s, early 80s time period, as far as American rock vocalist, one of the best, without question, as good as any of those other guys I just mentioned. So yeah, that was easy. Number 1 and 2. Simon's now going to cheat.
Depends which category we're doing next, because you know what? I never remember. So you have to prompt
We're
me.
always
Least favorite.
Least favorite.
Least favorites. Okay. Yeah, I am about to cheat because it's what I do. Just saying. The cover for Head Games is fucking terrible.
Yes, it is.
The music is fine, but beginning to go slightly downwards. But Dirty White Boy. I like it when they quote it up a little bit. I just want to say that the cover is terrible. That's all I really wanted to say. But what I really want to say is, and you've touched on it already, and this gets me out from slagging off an actual album. Oh, for God's sake, stop putting out compilation albums. This is the one that I bothered to buy. Because in the same year, there was the very best of Foreigner and there you go, the very best of Foreigner and Beyond. Then they have put out at least 10 compilations and 10 live albums. It's just the same shit over and over for the last 30 years.
Right.
Hey, everybody else in the world has done an acoustic album. We can do that. Work with an orchestra. We can do that. What was the last studio album? Don't Look Back? No,
Can't slow down. Can't slow down.
Can't Slow Down. Can't Slow Down when it's live has one song from Can't Slow Down on it. What's the point? I just don't know. But what I would say about this has got Soul Doctor on it, which is really, really good. It's just tremendous. It's one of the best Foreigner songs of all time. It really is. But just stop it. I think it's a thing for these heritage acts, because you realize that they put all these albums out in really short spaces of time, and you think, God, how creative is that? And then they just kind of, I can play the hits forever. And now I'm in my 70s. We can play Stadia. Yay! Don't have to do anything actually creative because people don't buy shit anymore, do they? So I fully understand why it happens because people will buy. I want to know what love is with an orchestra acoustically from Dayton, Ohio, from Manchester, whatever. They will buy the same shit over and over again, but that just irritates me. Just so many. Toto are the same as well. Just same.
At least Toto released a lot of new albums in more recent
Exactly.
years. Yeah,
But
so
so
I'll
many
give them the
compilations.
pass. Yeah.
And it's not like most of their albums weren't really on the same record label either, is it? It's just stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. Yes. Feel better for that.
Okay, so you're just doing the one, Simon. So you're not you're
No,
cheating.
I don't like the cover for Head Games.
Ah,
Pay attention, Stephen. Just far too many.
Never knows he comes up with new ways to cheat every time.
oh dear.
I'm a creative kind of guy.
They're
Okay,
always
so
entertaining, though. Always.
in fairness to Simon, I found this part of this process to be one of the most difficult we've done in all of these kind of band ranking things because I don't actually think there's a proper clunker in this category. I know what the answers.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah, I know what the answers should be. Okay, the answers should be things like unusual heat. Okay, I mean it's it's the only one they didn't even bother putting their own logo on. Everything else has got their own logo. They couldn't even be bothered putting the band logo on this. Okay, I like this. There's nothing wrong with this. It's not necessarily a phenomenal foreigner album, but it's got things to like about it. Okay, arguably, this should be the answer. Can't slow down. I like this too. It's maybe as much of a train album as it is a foreigner album, but there you go. I do like it. So I ended up really going with the one that I like least. That's what we're doing. I get that. Okay. So I end up really obvious. I end up with inside information. That's where I end up. This is the album that feels to me like everything is kind of falling apart a little bit. You kind of get Lou's point of I want to rock a little bit more than this album does. You can tell he's already kind of not as emotionally involved as he could be at this stage. But it's not a terrible album. It really isn't. Do you know that there's stuff like Counting Every Minute, which is a kind of a decent, heavier song. I quite like the title track. It kind of feels like that kind of high tech AOR movie soundtrack kind of thing, which was massive at the time. You can see exactly what they were doing. And the softies, Say You Will or I Don't Want to Live Without You, they're good softies. And people liked these
Will is
songs.
so catchy. So
Yeah. And people bought it as well. So it's easy to kind of look at it with hindsight and go, yeah, it was all just schmaltz and nonsense. But people really liked it at the time. So they were still doing kind of the right sort of thing. And things like The Beat in My Heart, which is a little bit more aggressive, and A Night to Remember. Lou is just bang on the money there. It's a really good album, but it's maybe the weakest in what is a really strong catalogue. And I know that a lot of people will have more of an issue with the two that don't feature Lou Gramm on them. I don't really. I like them for different reasons, to be fair. So Inside Information is my pick. However, unlike Simon, I don't cheat. Well, I do actually. I do cheat because I do have a second one. Okay, but I've gone for this. I've gone for the Mick Jones solo album from 1989. Okay, because this is not good.
I've never heard it.
And it's one of the very few things in the Foreigner oeuvre that I can tell you isn't very good. This is not very good. Okay. Now it has Rick Wills on it. It has Dennis Elliott on it. You have guest appearances from Ian Hunter, Billy Joel, Joel Lynn Turner, Carly Simon, Jeff Bova, Steve Farone, Simon Kirk. There's great drummers on here. They all sound like drum machines. It is really such a strange mix. It opens with Just Wanna Hold, co-written with Ian Hunter and I think Mick Jagger. And you hear Ian Hunter singing away and you kind of go, what are they doing? It sounds more like Mott the Hoople than it does Mick Jones. He sings all the lead vocals, and having said that he does a good job on a couple of songs on Double Vision, They're so soporific on this album. It really kind of just feels like he's going, do that Lou guy. He did some solo albums, they were dead good. I should do one of those. But without really kind of having the ideas. And it feels to me, and I'm sure he was, and I apologize if he was, having a hard time at this point because all the songs are about heartbreak and, making up with each woman and all this kind of stuff. And as I say, that opening track is odd, and yet it's maybe still the best thing on it. This is really not a great album, I have to say. And I have tried over the years because you think it's Mick Jones. He's got a hand in just about everything Foreigner put out. Are there any songs that he has no involvement in? I think there are, but some of the band members might tell you that, and he might disagree. But there you go. Okay. So you think, well, they can't. This can't all be filled with clunkers because he wrote lots of classic tracks. Terrible. It's absolutely terrible. So that's
How many great
actually
musicians and great bands have we seen release solo albums that are total clunkers? It happens, right?
awful.
Some guys should only be a member of a band. That's just the way it goes.
That's it.
Yeah. All right. So I will agree there are no stinkers in this catalog. Anything that's called Foreigner. I think all the albums are either great or have plenty of really good material on them. So it just comes down to, like you mentioned, Steve, it just comes down to ones that are our least favorites. We still like them, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the easy road out, and I'm going to pick the two that do not feature Lou Gramm because I have a hard time putting anything with him at the bottom. I'm going to go with Unusual Heat first. Johnny Edwards was a fine choice. He's a good singer. If you've ever heard his stuff in Montrose, he played with King Cobra for a bit. Fine singer. Musically speaking, the formula is pretty much the same here. That your mix of rockers and ballads. Only Heaven Knows is great. Low Down and Dirty is a terrific song. I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, oh, that rocks, right? There's nothing to dislike here. It's just good Foreigner style music. It's not great. It's not terrible. Good vocals. Everything's kind of here. But I'm gonna, even though there's probably more rockers on this than maybe one of the ones you mentioned, Steven, which is a little, but that's okay because I think this band does ballads pretty well. Although I never need to hear "I Want to Know What Love Is" ever again. But yeah. So that's my first one. And then I'm gonna go with Can't Slow Down. And I remember when this came out, I was pretty excited about it because it had been quite a while since we had heard any new Foreigner music. And I had already seen the band live at this point because they were already touring with this then lineup for quite a bit. You got Jeff Pilson on here and of course Kelly Hansen, great singer. And I remember like the title track is really good. And I feel it kind of loses steam after that. Like I found there's a little, it's a little pedestrian, whereas I think this still, for the most part, really sounds like a Foreigner album. Kind of stretching it a little bit here. They're nice songs. There's lots of ballads and kind of soft rock on here, but I'm missing the rockers on this album. But I think musically it's great. There's good melodies everywhere. Kelly sounds fantastic. You can't really crap on it all that much. It's not awful. I've heard way worse than this. It's just, to me, this is the most disappointing Foreigner album because it's got lots of songs. It took them forever to make it. I was expecting a little more. And then, of course, then you got the remixes and all this other live stuff on here. They threw everything into the kitchen sink in with this. I think this was a Walmart special over here, if I remember correctly. But anyway, so yeah, these two, I could pick a couple of others, but I feel in my heart of hearts that my least favorite, but I still like them, are these two. So the non-Lou albums. Now for the wild card.
Okie dokie. I thought, although generally I'm not allowed to think, but I thought I knew where no, I don't do the thinking. No, it's not my job. No, but I did think. I thought I know where I'm going to go with this. I thought I had everything planned out, and then I realised that my role here is to stand up for the plucky underdogs, and I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to stand up for inside information. Yes, oh, I'm going to sit down for it. Now, admittedly, it takes until counting every minute for somebody to walk in and say, "You are Michael. Here's your guitar. You can play it now." Yeah, and that producer was Czech's notes, Mr. Mick Jones. How odd! This really is. This is probably a pop album more than anything else, and I like pop. I like 80s sounding pop, but I really thought this is the one I'm going to slaughter into the middle of next week. And then I've got to listen to it practically every day. Yeah, I mean there are some actual clunkers hidden within the grooves of this, but the double whammy of Out of the Blue and A Night to Remember at the end is fantastic. Real, particularly A Night to Remember, that's just really great. And White Turns to Stone as an opener is really good, and it also only struck me not long ago from looking at all the teenage boys around where I live have got these like front perm things going on. And Foreigner were a good 30, 40 years in front of that front perm situation. Look at that. The front of that, just wow. Rick and Lou, they're just really rocking that front perm. So yeah, it's a much better album than I recall it being. So I'm so pleased to have gone back to it and thought, yay, woohoo, it's not terrible. Not necessarily the biggest way of saying something, but nonetheless, it's not. I very much enjoy going back. It doesn't sound remotely like the first two.
No.
Any way, shape, or form. And do you know what else doesn't sound like the first two Foreigner albums? That's right, Unusual Heat. Yay! I really like this record. This is my third favorite Foreigner album. This was in contention for about 8 seconds because I always knew what the first two would be. I really like it. It's another Terry Thomas production. Oh, it's that time to bring out the Terry Thomas jokes. Oh, yes. But no. Do you know what it reminds me of, kids? That's right. Ambition by Tommy Shaw. Because it's a Terry Thomas. And some of his vocal cadences also remind me of the same. But the first 3 tracks, Only Heaven Knows, Low Down and Dirty. Oh, yes, thank you. Mr. Jones has definitely been back to the cupboard and pulled his guitars out from that one. And I'll Fight for You is glorious. 6 minutes and 2 seconds of overwrought emotion. It's actually a really solid record. It's about as much of a Foreigner record as if I was singing on it, but nonetheless, it's a really solid record. And I think in a different world, this would be in the Underground Classics on A Sea of Tranquility show. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Unfortunately, it came out and at least here anyway, it didn't really do much of anything. I think once people got word that Lou wasn't on it, they were kind of like, it's kind of sank without a trace. But I remember I bought it as soon as it came out, and I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's interesting because Lou hasn't been on anything for donkey's years, and there's playing, to my knowledge, pretty big arenas, aren't there?
Yeah, but live seems to be a different beast.
Yeah.
People will go and see a live band to hear those songs 1 more time or 3 more times or 10 more times. But release an album with that guy singing, everyone goes, that's not them. There's Lou Gramm. You're going to see them next week? Yeah, I'm going to see them next week. Do you know what I mean? That's the way that it's a strange thing. I don't really get it. Right. So, yes, cheating time, as we call the wild cards. At least I certainly do in this show. Because, there's 9 albums to choose from, and I've spoken about, I think, probably 7 or 8 of them already. So, what I wanted to do with this one is we all go, oh, Lou Gramm, he's great. I do that all the time. Okay. Mick Jones, he's fantastic, apart from his solo album. But there are lots of people that have been in and out of the years that are really worthwhile outside of Foreigner. So I'm going to start with, because there's a few. This is Driver's Eyes by Ian MacDonald. Okay, this is the only solo thing that the ex-Foreigner and King Crimson Man did. A bit like Mick Jones, it's got a great cast list. Wow. Got a great list of cats on it. It really does. He put some cool cats on this album. Anyway. Okay, so it's got Gary Brooker on it. It's got Lou Gramm on it. It's got Steve Hackett on it. John Waite is on this album. Peter Frampton's on this album. Mike Giles, who he worked with many moons ago. It's got John Wetton on it. It's got Pete Sinfield on it. All these people from way back in King Crimson days and all that kind of stuff. Came out in 1999, and it is filled with what you could describe as kind of gentle, mature rock. But the difference between that album and the Mick Jones album is these songs are really good, and they come from the heart. It is quite a sedate album, and yet there's stuff on here that's just fantastic. You Are Part of Me by John Waite, or singing, the singing is by John Waite. It's just phenomenal. Then you've got Straight Back to You, which Lou Gramm sings on, and it's just brilliant. It's such a good album. Ian sings on a few of the songs too, and he's actually really, really good. This is one of the real sleepers in my CD collection. I go back to this album an awful lot, and it just has a real heart and soul about it that I absolutely adore. So that's the first one. I won't speak too long about Spies, because I've got a funny feeling this might come up in a melodic rock show at some point. This is Al Greenwood, Ed Gagliardi, 1982. This is kind of another underground AOR sensation that is spoken about in hushed tones in those kind of circles. Really, the star of it is John Blanco, who's the singer. It's fantastic. If you love AOR, melodic hard rock, because it's more harder rocking than that, and you've never heard this, you really should. The second album, Behind Enemy Lines, is also fantastic. Then you got King Cobra 3, not just with Johnny Edwards on it, Johnny Boy Edwards on it. Yeah, okay. The band lineup for this album is Carmen Appice on drums. He was in them all the way through, still in them now, even though there's hardly anybody left that was in at this point, and nobody left that was in this point. David Michael Phillips on guitar, who was one of the mainstays. You've got Jeff Northrup on guitar, Larry Hart on bass. It's a really stellar lineup. And realistically, if you like something like, I don't know, Y&T, and you don't have this album in your collection, you are missing out. You would absolutely love this. As a curio, it features 2 songs written by Gene Simmons on it, one with Paul Stanley, Legends Never Die, which is a demo that Kiss put out many moons ago as like unofficial things, and also It's My Life, which ended up on the Wendy O. Williams album. They're the worst 2 songs on this, by the way, and by some distance. They didn't need to be fanning about what other people's songs. I briefly mentioned Outside Looking In by Bruce Turgeon a few weeks ago when we were talking about Lou Gramm. If you like Shadow King, which we will talk about at some point on a Melodic Rock Show, this is Shadow King 2. It's not quite that good, but it is really good. What's better is Places of Power, and this is what Bruce Turgeon did after that with a singer called Philip Bardowell, who has sung in Avalon, Magdalene, Unruly Child, Radioactive. This is slick, mature AOR with a bit of hard rock thrown in, and it's really, really good. This is called Now Is the Hour, released in 2009. So my wild card is actually what those people that you forget were in Foreigner did, either before or after they were in Foreigner.
Yeah, I'm going to also go for something that not released under the Foreigner banner, but I think arguably is the best thing that any member of Foreigner ever did outside of that band. Going to go back to 1975 when Lou Gramm was known as Lou Grammatico. He played in a band upstate New York, I believe the Buffalo area, called Black Sheep. So this is absolutely terrific. They released 2 albums. They also had this album as well, but the first album is the greatest. So basically, if you like the band Free, fronted by Paul Rodgers, Mr. Kossoff, and Mr. Kirk, and whatnot, and maybe a little bit of Bad Company, that's what this is. Bluesy, hard and heavy rock with killer guitars and amazing vocals from Lou Gramm, or Lou Grammatico, sorry. And he's on vocals, Bruce Turgeon on bass, Larry Crozier on keyboards, Donald Mancuso on guitar, who's got that Paul Kossoff thing going down, and Ron Rocco on drums. And that's what they look like there. I had heard about these 2 albums forever, and then when I saw they were being released on CD, however many years ago it was, I scooped them up immediately. They quickly went out of print, but I'm happy to have them. So I would urge anybody who likes Lou's vocal style but wants to hear him doing this kind of like Paul Rogers thing in this like kind of dark, bluesy, heavy rock context, very much like Classic Free or early Bad Company. You need to hear Black Sheep. Great stuff. It's, you know, it's no surprise that Mick probably heard this guy singing. It's like, oh, we need to get him for this band. Because when you hear him on these albums, you're going to be like, holy cow, that's amazing stuff. So, yeah, Black Sheep. The debut specifically, but Encouraging Words is also pretty damn good as well. But yeah, the first album is great. And yeah, I love the back cover, right? I mean, how like free does that look, you know? Fender amp, Gibson Les Paul. It's got Kossoff written all over it. Yeah, great stuff. That's my pick. So, Steven, what are we doing in 2 weeks from today?
And 2 weeks from today, we are ranking the songs on a classic album, and we are going big. We are going beastly big. We're going to do Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. We'll be ranking the songs on Number of the Beast. So go on, give it another listen. I know you've listened to it all a million times, but it's worth it. It's such a good album. And rank the songs. That's your homework.
I haven't done the homework yet, but I'm already envisioning. I know what my like top 3 are, and then I have to revisit all the other ones. I mean, I've heard a million times, but I'm like, I need to kind of go through it again to see like where the old noggin is sitting today with, you know, where they should be. Top 3 are easy. It's everything after that's kind of like,
It'll be interesting to see how much we agree or disagree on that.
We generally are, we're never on the same page when these
No,
ranking the
very
song
seldom.
classic album shows. We're never on the same page. I'm amazed today. We all 3 of us picked the same 2 songs as our top. That never happens either.
I was actually wondering when you came away with the same 2 albums that myself and Simon had there, if this is the first time that we've agreed on the 2 favourites. I can't remember it happening before.
It's got to be. Yeah, it's got to be because I don't remember ever mentioning it before.
Don't think so.
Yeah.
There you go. But then again, only 9 to choose from. But they are the best.
Yeah.
That helps.
So for everybody watching, go back and revisit if you if you haven't already listened to The Number of the Beast numerous times in recent weeks when Martin Popoff and I were doing the New Wave of British Heavy Metal theme shows. Go back again because now it's like you already know the album, but now you basically have to deconstruct it in the order that you like the songs. So that's a little bit of a different assignment. So get ready to do that. We'll be doing that 2 weeks from today. And visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube all together all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Rank your top 2, your bottom 2, your wild card down in the comments below for Foreigner. And we'll see you next time here on the UK Connection. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Tune in for King Diamond coming at you tomorrow, ranking the albums, George Lemie and myself, as well as Tuesdays in the Proxy. So coming up over the next couple days. Lots happening. Don't miss any of it. Till then, for Simon Bray and Steven Reid, I am Pete Pardo. Have a good one, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.